Chapter 2 The Tree's Wisdom and a Tragic Tale. As Link set out to see the great Deku Tree, Mido, the most arrogant of the Kokiris, walked up and kicked him square in his rear end. Ouch, what was that for? With a menacing glare, Mido laughs with full force. You must think that you're so special because the Deku Tree lets you see him anytime you want. Well, look here, Mr. Special. You may be able to do whatever you want, but you'll never be one of us. As usual, Link just looks away and continues on to his journey as he hears nothing but ramblings behind him. Although he had not gotten far, Link began to think a lot about what would happen if Saria were right and how he would react if he ever had to leave his childhood friend. Link then heard a familiar voice. It was a deep and guttural tone. You have journeyed here to ask many questions and seek answers. Sadly, I can only answer 3. As our hero looks up to greet the tree, he notices something wrong. A large mark, possibly from a sword, is etched into the side of the Deku Tree. What is that? Link was quickly interrupted. Think before you ask your question, boy. You get only 3 questions and 3 answers. The Deku Tree had a bit of an angry look on his face at this point. I know I raised you to be smarter than that. With that said, Link sat down and proceeded to think about his questions. He needed to think about how to ask them so that he could get to the answers he is looking for. Finished with his thoughts, Link finally stood up and asked his first question. Great Deku Tree, why am I different from the others? The talking tree closed his eyes and sighed. He knew that question was bound to surface. It's not a matter of why you're different, but where you come from. You and the Kokiri are essentially the same. You just come from different realms. You, my dear boy, are a noble Hylian, protectors of the land of Hyrule, while the Kokiri are protectors of the forest. Same can be said about the Gorons being the protectors of the mountains and the Zoras protect the waters. We may look different, but we are all children of the 3 great goddesses. Your people play a big role in the life of this land. Hylians may be protectors of the entire land of Hyrule and very skilled in battle, but they can't do everything. The Kokiri, with their small bodies, can get through the forests easier, making it possible for stealth attacks. Gorons have their rock-hard bodies to withstand the harsh conditions up on Death Mountain. The Zoras have their flippers and gills to travel through the lakes and rivers. And finally the Gerudo, although thieves, are skilled at weaponry. They fashion the weapons and armor your people used in battle. We may all have our own realms, but we all have important roles to play. We work together to protect this land. Now what is your second question, child? There was no hesitation after the Deku Tree finished speaking. Link was prepared for any answer he was about to receive. What happened to my parents, and why was I left to be raised in this forest? With an eager ear, Link sat down again to ready himself for the tragic tale of his upbringing. Many years ago, a vile man named Ganondorf pulled an army together from the underbelly of this world and set them loose. As we were bombarded with their relentless attacks, your parents thought it best that you be raised in the forest. We could hide you away from the evils that lurked in the shadows, and when the time was right, like now, tell you your past and what you as a Hylian are capable of. Sadly, your parents did not make it. Your father died while protecting you and your mother. Your mother had perished soon after she took an injury while getting you here. She willed herself to ask for my assistance by caring for you and telling me this tragic tale. You are destined for great things, boy, and although perilous, you will succeed. With his and Saria's fears realized, Link rose up and proceeded to ask his final question. Why am I the destined one? Sorry, but I am not allowed to answer that question. You must figure that out on your own. Now enter my body, Link. Inside, you will find the armor and weapon that was left to you by your mother. Although old, they should last you until you get to the next village. With a disappointed look on his face, mostly from not knowing where he had to go next and not being able to ask, Link marched on and entered the Deku Tree with a bit of fear and curiosity. Inside, he sees a pedestal with his new garb, an old partially rusted shield, a map, and a sheathed sword, and hiding behind the garb, a bag filled with 500 rupees and a note. Link, if we are not around to see you grow up, just know that we did all we could to keep this land beautiful for you. The quest you are now about to embark on is going to be long and very dangerous. Please be safe, my child. I know you will make the great goddesses and us proud. After a bit of mourning, our hero finally emerges from the tree. Now go, child, and make this land peaceful once more. With a fire in his eyes and an ache in his heart, Link set out to Saria's house to tell her what the great Deku Tree had told him. On the way to her place, he thought long and hard about the easiest way to tell her. He knew whatever he was to say, it was going to end in tears. The future held much for him, and whether he was ready or not, he was going to have to face it. With a knot in his throat, Link lightly knocked on Saria's door. With sweat running down his forehead, he began to think telling her would be a bad idea. Before he could walk away, however, the door opened, and a scared and lonely face appeared. Right away he knew that there wouldn't be much to say, seeing as how, from her looks, she already knew. "Saria, look." He was quickly cut off by Saria. "I knew my fears were true. You don't need to say anything. I think it would be best if we did not talk about this, and you just leave in the morning." As she slammed the door, Link could see a tear forming in the corner of her eye. Seeing as how there was nothing else he could do, Link went back to his place, washed up, and tried to get some rest.